Welcome to Canada's podcast.
Hello, I'm Mario Toneguzzi, Managing Editor of Canada's Podcast. My guest today on Calgary's podcast is Dave Wald, who is owner of Karma Campervans. Thanks for joining us today, Dave.
No problem. Good to be here. Thanks for having me.
All right, let's talk, first of all, a little bit about the business. Tell me what you folks do.
So Karma Campervans is a camper van rental company, primarily. However, we're pretty unique in that we actually manufacture our own vans and then put them into the rental fleet. So we build out our own camper vans, and then we rent them out of our locations in Calgary, Vancouver, Penticton, Edmonton, Ottawa, and Moncton.
Wow.
Yeah, we're in 6 locations across Canada.
When did you start?
So Karma started in 2018. So early 2018, we got our first van. Early 2018, we built it out ourselves, myself and my 2 business partners, and then we started operating just in the north end of the city.
Okay, how did you start? How did this idea come about?
Yeah, so I'll kind of give you the Coles Notes version because there's a longer story involved. There's a lot of backstory here, but ultimately, I kind of grew up in the RVing industry and cut my teeth working for RV dealerships and eventually running my own marketing agency. And a lot of my clients were RVing and camping brands.
Oh.
That then parlayed into understanding the industry really well. Okay, so I had a really good handle on the RVing community and the industry from a manufacturer's perspective, from a customer's perspective. I also started my own little media company or media brand called Modern Camper Magazine a long time ago, where we started sharing all the cool stuff happening in the RVing and camping industry. So that was all happening while at the same time took a trip to Iceland in 2013 with my family. And while we were there, we were doing the whole circumnavigation of the island, and I started spotting all these little converted Ford Transit Connect, little cargo vans. They were all converted into these little campers, and they had bright, painted exteriors. I could see on the brand on the side, and so I started looking them up and started learning more about them, and realized that these were like little converted campers that were driving around Iceland with all their guests, and they were camping out and doing their traveling and all that stuff. And I just thought, man, this would go great in Calgary. I think Calgary would be a great market for something like this. And it never existed. Nothing like that ever existed here. So, fast forward 5 years, started chatting with my business partners, and we got formulating a plan and a business plan and started putting some stuff together and made it happen in 2018.
Wow. How many vans do you have?
So today on the road, active rentals, we have about just over 80 vans.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, so we've actually built over 100 units. We're actually building right now in our shop in Calgary. We are building our number 115th van.
Wow.
So yeah, we are pretty proud of that, and it's been a long road, but we're having a ton of fun.
Stay ahead of the game with our expert tips and strategies that will help your business thrive in a digital era. CanadasPodcast.com. Subscribe now.
So, everybody, when they think about, RVs, they think about the big honking things, right? And think about the movie with Robin Williams, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But how popular is, my wife and I driving around recently and noticed one of those vans like that, like almost like a regular van, but obviously a little bigger, right? And
Yep.
how popular and why is it becoming so popular?
Well, I mean, it's popular. It became popular. So first of all, it's been around for forever, right? It's been around for decades, right? You think about the 1960s and 70s, the little like the VW
Yeah,
camper.
yeah,
That's where it all kind of started, right? And that then morphed over time. It kind of went away a little bit, but then in kind of the 2010s started becoming really popular again because people across North America started converting vans and living in them, right?
yeah,
Full time. The whole like hashtag van life thing. And obviously with the rise of social media, that just started spreading like wildfire. People started seeing it online, following people on social media. Of course, it's all the glam of van
yeah.
life and the things that come with it. And so that's really what turned it into the popular form of travel that it is today. Now, on top of that, though, is that these vans, they're cargo vans. They're not big motorhomes. They are easy to drive. They're very easy to handle. Our vans in particular have everything you need in them to have this really enjoyable camping experience. And it's everything you need for a great road trip, honestly. So I think easy to drive, easy on the pocketbook too, a little bit more affordable on the gas
Yeah.
bill, and on the materials and supplies, makes it a great way to travel.
Yeah. So when you got into this, and running your own business, especially like this one, what was, I say, the biggest challenge you had?
So the biggest, honestly, the biggest challenge we had to begin with was meeting with our guests at a specific time of the day in order to do the walkthrough of the van with them, right? So let's say we go to rent a car. Now, back in the day, you went to the desk, you talked to the desk agent, then they got you your car, you did a walk around of the car. Same with RVs and campers. You arrived at the location, you did a walk around of the camper. That you had to teach them how to use it because not everyone's got one of these things, right?
Yeah.
So that was the biggest challenge because oftentimes, these guests, they're funny because sometimes they'll say, all right, we'll be there at noon or 1 or 2 o'clock. And so we're there waiting and literally it was me, myself, and one other kind of remote employee. So I'd be like, hey, Kenneth, you got to be there at noon for the guest pickup. Right. We're running 5 or 10 vans at the time. And sure enough, we'd be there waiting. We'd have the van ready to go. And we'd be there waiting for them. And then all of a sudden we get a phone call from our guests and they'd say, or we'd call the guests and we'd say, hey, we're here waiting for you to come pick up the van. And they'd say, oh, well, we just landed, but we thought we'd take some time to go downtown and do a little touring, but we'll be there soon. No problem. And meanwhile, we're standing around waiting for them. So what we immediately did was basically invented the automated pickup. We invented the contactless pickup back in 2018. We're like, this is crazy. We don't have to be here for this. We can, like, these vans are so easy to operate. Let's send them a walkthrough video ahead of time, right? Show them how to work everything ahead of time. Teach them about, how to work the water system, where everything is, so that they can watch the video ahead of time. We have keyless entry pads in all of our vans, right? So when they got to the location, assuming they watched the video, all they had to do was punch in the key code, the keys are in there waiting for them, and off they go.
Off they go.
what was originally a bit of a pain point was something that we actually turned into a unique selling proposition for Karma camper vans.
I guess that's a key of being an entrepreneur, is learning as you go along, the way to how to make yourself more efficient and more streamlined as a business.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, look, every day is an opportunity to do something different. or do something better. That's honestly, that's what gets me up in the morning. Is every day we come together as a team, as an entrepreneur and as a team, to solve problems and create great experiences for our guests. That is the number one thing that we do. We do. Yeah, we rent camper vans. We do. We rent camper vans. We build campers. But through and through, the thing that we do is create amazing experiences for our guests. How we do that is the daily challenge. We solve problems, we make things better, we streamline, we make more efficient. That's our job, and that's what we do best.
Now, I know you're in a number of different locations, but your base is here in Calgary. What do you like about running a business in Calgary and operating a business here?
Calgary is great. Like, I'm born and raised Calgarian. This is a hard place to leave, Mario. Like, it is a hard place to leave. There's so many reasons why not to leave this city. And as we know, a lot of people are coming to the city now, and for good reason. Why we love operating here, so access to, materials, access to human resources. The costs of running a business here are relatively minimal compared to other places across the country.
Yeah,
we have, we put out an ad for an employee. We're staffing up. We have no problems hiring people here. There's, people have gotten to know us a lot here in Calgary. We've become more of a household brand here, so we become more well known.
Yeah,
but running this business out of Calgary made a ton of sense for us. We've got these great things called the Rocky Mountains right next door to us, right?
I'm looking at them as we speak.
And that's the other thing too. We don't rent camper vans. We rent an experience where people can go, see those mountains, experience the things that they're able to experience. That's what we do, and that's why we're here.
Okay. Do you use them as well personally?
Oh yeah, I use them all the time. I shouldn't say all the time. I don't use them in the spring and summer because they're rented out and we can't use them. But in the off season, so in the winter, myself and some buddies, we always do an annual ski trip in our camper vans. We get a group of 8 or 10 guys jump in the vans. Everyone, we've got our date set. And wherever the snow is, that's where we go. And that's the great thing about our vans. They're off-grid vans, so we can pretty much take them anywhere. We can set them up anywhere we want, and chase powder. And that's what we do. And let me tell you, Mario, nothing's better than waking up in minus 10 or minus 20. Our vans are toasty warm, and there's some fresh snow waiting for you on the mountain.
Wow. Yeah. What do when you talk about your customers and the adventures you had? Anything come to mind of some of the wild places that people have gone with these vans?
Yeah, gosh, we've had our vans go as far south as San Diego, as far east as now Moncton, New Brunswick.
Yeah.
We had a couple of guys last year. I'll never forget it. One fellow who's from Calgary had a friend fly in from China. He picked him up from the airport. They then drove to Vancouver. They then drove all the way down the West Coast, all the way across the US, all the way back up the East Coast, back into Canada, and then back across Canada.
Wow.
To Calgary. I think it was like a 30-day trip. Which doesn't seem like long enough to do that one, but it was an epic adventure between two really good friends who, reconnected over this great road trip.
Canada's podcast is your gateway to success in the world of entrepreneurship. Start listening today. CanadasPodcast.com. Subscribe now.
Now, imagine, Dave, obviously running a business like this has been successful. Takes up a lot of your time, and you're all probably always thinking about it. But what do you do to relax outside of the business?
I always think about the business, Mario. Like,
Yeah.
how do you not, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So, I've got a family, I got a wife, I got 2 kids, I have a dog. We we love to spend a lot of time outdoors. We travel a lot. We've got a place in Fernie that we can go to that's a family cottage. So we get down there quite often. Our kids grew up skiing on that ski hill. I go for walks with my dog every morning. I clear my head. I got my coffee with me. That's how I relax. Yeah, at the same time, like, we love watching good movies on a weekend. We have a fire pit in our backyard. We love having those fires. Like, to me, that's what we work to live, Mario. We don't live to work.
Yeah.
Where I'm from, and we work hard and we play hard, and that's how I grew up, and that's how we do it.
Yeah. Like, how important do you think that is for a business owner to, obviously, as you said, you're always thinking about it. However, taking a break from it and not burning out, how important is that?
Yeah, man. Like, I'm a firm believer in taking that time off that you need time, to take off. And that includes weekends. That includes a weekday evenings at 5 o'clock. Like, I'm usually heading out the door because I got dinner to prepare. I got my kids to take to sporting events, or, I got stuff to pick up. So that, obviously there'll be moments where I have to be on and I have to be working. But there's some times where, sure, I'll put the kids to bed and I'll pull up on my computer, my laptop. I'll be sitting in front of the TV or have my earbuds in late at night. And sometimes all of a sudden it's 2 o'clock in the morning and I haven't stopped.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
at the same time, I'll tell you, like, my Friday nights are me and my family time. My Saturdays and Sundays, that's me and my family time. Do I have to sometimes show up at the shop or take care of a few things over emails or phone calls? Yeah, for sure. And I will. But yeah, sleep. Sleep
Yeah.
is become super important all of a sudden. How has it become important all of a sudden? But it always has been.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I sometimes, like I said, sometimes I'll catch myself up till 2 a.m, but most often than not, I know that if I don't get that good sleep, then I'm not going to be able to perform the next day. I'm not going to be able to be here, be able to make those decisions, work with the team, and be on top of things. So yeah, I try and take care of myself. I do. I work out regularly. We're pretty active family, and otherwise, what is this all for?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So one last thing for you, Dave, if I was a young person looking for advice on becoming an entrepreneur, what would you tell me?
So I did a little test one time, and like one of those behavioral tests, and it turns out I'm what's called an activator. So I actually help people activate or do things, get things done. And one of the things I always tell people is, if you have an idea, if you have this burning desire to do something that maybe goes against the grain or is different or that's needed, don't wait. Like, just do it. Get in there, make it happen.
Yeah.
You've got it in you. You've got support. There's nothing holding you back. Now is the time. Just don't wait.
All right. Wonderful. Well, thanks very much, Dave, for joining us today.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me. It was really fun.
All right. That was Dave Wald, who is owner of Karma Camper Vans in Calgary. I'm Mario Toneguzzi, managing editor of Canada's podcast, today with Calgary's podcast. Thanks for joining us.